Commissioner Robert Fields, thank you for joining us on another segment of Talking with Tatum.
It's my pleasure, Judge.
Well, part of what we're trying to do with our program is to feature some county commissioners and folks that are in leadership positions in local government. And I mentioned that you're a county commissioner. What district do you represent?
It's District 1, which is as far west in Wilson County as you can get. It encompasses Twin Lakes Cove and Langford Farms, Langford Cove, Green Harbor, Green Acres, Heritage Harbor, Shiloh Park. Pretty much once you cross the Davidson County line and get into Wilson County, if you go down Saundersville Road, once you see the Old Hickory Lake water, you're out of District 1.
And so you're probably in one of the most densest population.
Yes, sir.
Smallest geographic district probably.
Yes, sir.
But very densely populated area.
Very densely, yes, sir.
And a lot of people who, some who have lived down there a long time, but a lot of people who have moved in, work in Nashville and shop in Nashville.
A lot of transition, a lot of old timers though. And I say old timers, I mean long-time residents.
Right.
Not that elderly. But yes, it's we've been there 30 years. We'll be 31 in December, so it's home. It'll always be home. Somebody said, "Are you ever going to move?" And I said, "Sure." I said, "Either the nursing home or the funeral home." That's my two choices. I don't know which one's coming first.
Well, let's try to put that. I'll keep that at bay as long as you can. But that's a reality of life, end of life. But your life didn't start down in District 1. You grew up somewhere else.
I sure did. I grew up in South Georgia, a little town called Swainsboro. Population probably 7,200. It's 90 miles from Savannah, the coast, 80 miles from Central Georgia, which is Macon, and 70 miles from Augusta, which is home of the Masters.
Okay.
So I was pretty close, and Vidalia Onions were real close to me, 30 miles.
But
so
you got a little tip, though, for somebody that's wanting to buy Vidalia onions.
I certainly do. Make sure the bag says the farm is in Glenville or Reedsville, not Vidalia. There's a different soil in Tatum County versus Vidalia, and it's a much better tasting onion.
Okay, well, we got to remember that. Get it from what two towns?
Glenville or Reedsville.
Reedsville or Glenville onions. Just doesn't roll off your tongue as well as Vidalia, I guess.
No, it doesn't, but it sure does taste better.
Well, I'll have to check that out. So you went to public schools down in Swainsboro, Georgia?
I sure did. Graduated in 1966. Went off to South Georgia Junior College in Douglas. I spent 2 years there and graduated, and then transferred up to the University of Georgia. And during that time, Uncle Sam needed me. I was a victim of the Vietnam War. Vietnam War, yes, sir. I was a victim of the birthday draft, and my birthday was number 183. So they had announced if you have a certain number up to 366, you were probably not going to be drafted. Below a certain number, you would be. Those of us in the middle were in limbo. So I said, instead of being in limbo and trying to go to school and study, I'll just join.
Right.
So I joined the Navy, was shipped to San Juan, Puerto Rico, Roosevelt Roads and Naval Station. I spent my entire term of duty there and came home, went back to school under Uncle Sam's GI Bill, and finished up with a degree in business.
Finished up at the University of Georgia.
Yes, sir. I'm a full-blooded bulldog.
Well, I was about to ask that. You know, where do you stand on that? Being a long-time Tennessee resident, but Georgia's a good school. I've got some good friends went down.
And I've got some good friends that are involved. So.
Well, and what do you think of Alabama, though?
Can we change the subject?
All right. Well, I just wanted to check, just checking your credentials. But you graduated from the University of Georgia after your time in the Navy with a degree in business. And then what did you do, start your career?
Well, I actually came back to work for my father, who owned a wholesale house in South Georgia, and the plan was for me to take over. And that didn't work out. It wasn't my dream, it was his. And so I started dealing and talking to some representatives of major companies that called upon his warehouse.
And what type of goods did he have in his wholesale company?
Well, it's canned goods, candies, tobacco products, that kind of stuff, anything but alcohol, basically, small time. And Dad made a good living doing that, but it wasn't for me. And I was fortunate enough to get on with a Fortune 500 company, U.S. Tobacco, in 1979, and spent 25 years with them. I was able to retire at 55 in 2004. with 80% of my pension for life. And my wife and I enjoy traveling, and we have done that for 15 years now.
Now, you mentioned your wife. Where did y'all meet up? When did you get married?
We actually got, we met in church.
Okay.
We were both in a singles class, and I was on the church bowling team with the pastor's wife, and she was in a class with the pastor. And the pastor and his wife decided that Pat and I should get together.
They got to conspiring.
They got to, there was definitely a religious conspiracy, but it worked out. We've been married now since, be 29 years this October.
That's awesome. And where were you, what church was this? Where were you?
It was Rockdale Baptist Church in Conyers, Georgia, which is on the east side of Atlanta.
Okay. Is she a Georgia girl?
Oh, yes, sir. She was born in Cobb County.
Okay, so she's a big city girl from Cobb County. You're from rural Georgia.
Yes, sir.
But you went to work for U.S. Tobacco in 1979, made a career with them. Tobacco was a big business at one time. And with the tobacco settlement, that I'm sure impacted that industry. What did you do with it? Were you in procurement or development or marketing?
I was in sales and marketing as a manager. First of all, an entry-level position as a field representative, and then I moved up to a division manager, which was a small geographical area. And when I was transferred up here, I became a department manager. And I've eventually just ended up being over Tennessee and Kentucky, everything developing and executing sales and marketing plans for those two states. But when I first initially moved to Tennessee, I had Alabama, Kentucky, Mississippi, Georgia, and Tennessee, which was a large geographical area, and the company finally realized that and reduced the size of the territory.
Now, do you have to travel throughout all that district
I
fairly
did.
regularly?
I did. Mostly, I flew a lot, but then when it was reduced to just Tennessee, Kentucky, I did a lot of driving.
Okay.
I would usually spend Mondays and Fridays in my office, which was there in Nashville and Donaldson. But I'd spend Tuesday night, Wednesday night on the road and come back Thursday afternoon.
So you made it up to here at about 1990?
1988, December the 1st.
Okay. And but were able to retire after 25 years?
Yes, sir.
And have been able to enjoy your retirement with your bride?
Yes, sir. We've set foot on all 7 continents, including Antarctica.
Wow.
Did my first African safari last September. We just got back from Normandy. We were there right before the 70th anniversary of D-Day, and we were there last Sunday. And the preparations were made for the 75th, and it was just as moving and emotional as it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
This time we were able to visit all 5 beaches, not just Omaha and Utah. And the beach at Gold Beach, which is where the British invaded, there's still like 7 or 8 landing crafts that are still stuck out in the water.
Really?
Still visible.
After all these years?
After all these years.
But you also made time to start a family, and you have a granddaughter that just accomplished something really noteworthy.
She sure did. Her name's Rachel Malone, and she lives on Gill Road in Mount Juliet, and she is a finishing 8th grader at West Wilson Middle School, and she had the highest grade average for science in the entire 8th grade at West Wilson Middle.
Good.
Very proud of her.
And you were telling me before we got started that you can't take any claim for that.
No, sir, I can take no claim for that. She got all those intelligence from her mom and dad and her grandmother.
All righty. But y'all have a daughter, son?
Son and daughter.
Okay.
The son lives in Atlanta in the College Park. He has 3 children. One just graduated from Woodward Academy, one of the private school, and then the other 2 attend Woodward Academy. And then the daughter here has the one daughter.
Okay, so 4 grandchildren.
2 and 2, yes, sir.
Okay. And now, reason we've asked you to be on here is about your position as
Sure.
District 1 County Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
What prompted you to, in your retirement years, to say, I think I want to throw my hat in the ring and run for an elected office?
Well, I've worked on several campaigns, mostly successful, some unsuccessful. I was co-chair of the county for former Congressman Diane Black.
Okay.
I've worked on State Representative Susan Lynn's campaign. I've worked on State Senator May Beaver's campaign. I worked successfully for Governor Bill Haslam. So I've been involved probably since Ronald Reagan was elected. Being from Georgia, I was still living in Georgia when Jimmy Carter was the state senator. when he was governor and when he was president, and I said, I need to get involved. And just started volunteering, putting up yard signs, knocking on doors, canvassing neighborhoods, driving around with my whole pickup with a sign in the back. And I really enjoyed it. You get to meet some really nice people. I think over all the years, I probably only had 3 or 4 doors slammed in my face or closed on me. I did have one couple tell me they didn't vote, and which, being a veteran, I kind of took offense to that, but that's their prerogative. But no, it really is a pleasant experience. It's hot. It's very hot, especially from late April till August.
Right.
But it's a good way to lose weight. It's a very good way to lose weight.
And you like dealing with people. That was part of your career about working with the public.
I've always dealt with the public,
Right.
and like I say, I don't think I make enemies. I may not make really good friends, but I enjoy people.
Okay.
I enjoy talking to people.
Well, in this, when you decided to run for county commission, was there a particular issue, whether it was about growth or finances or education? That
It was
set
more
out?
about my age. I figured I wasn't going to get any younger.
So it was a goal that you had, or something on your bucket list.
It was a goal, and I turned 70 last year, so in 4 years I'd be 74 and probably wouldn't be able to walk the neighborhoods.
Okay.
So I said, well, the time is now. And former Commissioner Becky Seaver lives in my neighborhood, lived 2 streets over, and Becky told me she wasn't going to run. So I talked to my wife about it, and we decided, well, let's just do it.
Okay.
And, it was a small campaign, just me. I asked my wife not even to get involved. She helped me write up some things at home, but as far as knocking on doors or going to meetings, that kind of stuff, it was a one-man show.
And in your time that you've been on the county commission, a lot of people say when they first get started, it's a learning process to see how the process works. They go into the committee meetings. And what's been your impression so far in the time you've been on?
It is definitely a learning experience. I have tried to attend as many different committee meetings as possible, just to see what they're about. The ones that I'm on, audit, planning and zoning, and minutes, that's normal stuff, but I like to go to the budget, the finance, the judicial, just to learn and to listen. There's a lot of expertise and a lot of experience in those rooms, and I don't. If you watch me, I don't do a lot of talking in the meetings. I like to listen. Now, you and I, we're communicating more than I probably would at a committee meeting, but I just like to listen because you can pick up pointers.
You can learn a lot that way.
You can learn a lot.
All right.
That's why God only gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth.
My daddy always said the same thing. That's some really good advice. In the time that we've got left here as we wrap up, is there anything you would like to share about your life or career, family, beliefs that we haven't touched on?
I would just invite everybody in District 1 to contact me. I've had several inquiries already about some issues, and I have been able to help some with positive results, some with pending results, some with not so positive results. But please go on the website to contact me, robert.fields@wilsoncountytn.gov, and I'll be more than happy to follow through. I'll do the best job that I can possibly do for you. I'll represent you, not me. You elected me, I didn't elect myself. And that's what I think a public servant should be, is a public servant.
All right. Well, very good. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Judge.
And you can have one of our coffee cups there, and hopefully you'll get some good use out of it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Then we just